Welcome to the MBG Podcast. Let's fire everybody.
All right, welcome everybody to episode number 142, the Message Board Geniuses podcast. This is Who's. I got Casey, Courtney, MBG. Got one more football game this weekend before the long wait for next season starts. Y'all have any big plans for the Super Bowl this weekend?
Woohoo!
I'm super excited for the commercials.
Am I the only one that isn't really that excited about this Super Bowl? It's not. It doesn't seem that sexy to me. I mean,
who's playing?
Exactly.
Nobody knows.
I mean, okay, Sam Darnold's a pretty good story, but nobody really wants to see the Patriots back.
No, they don't.
Yeah, Seattle is Seattle. I mean, nobody cares about Seattle. I don't know. I'm not overly enthused with the matchup, but whatever. I'll go eat some food.
I think it'd be funny to see Darnold be the first quarterback from that class to win a Super Bowl.
And former Jet does it for me too. Like you're at the Jets and you're, shunned for the rest of your life because you were a Jet quarterback, and you go and you revitalize your career a little bit at Minnesota, and then it goes to Seattle and wins it. Like, yeah, I'd like.
Well,
it
it's also funny that Minnesota. I mean, he was incredible for the Vikings a year ago, and then they essentially gave up on him because obviously McCarthy was going to be the guy, and he's turned out to be not so far. So, and then he goes to Seattle and then leads them to the Super Bowl. It is a really cool story.
Yeah, I mean,
and Drake May's 0-2 against Clemson, so I mean,
Dude, a terrible UVA team beat Drake May when he was at Carolina. So, I'm not convinced he's gonna. I mean, he hasn't in the playoffs produced at all. And so, yeah, seeing a Carolina guy and a Patriot bet in the Super Bowl would be super fun if it happens.
The Carson Beck of the NFL.
Oh, my God.
That's a little rough.
Carson might be older than Drake May. I think Carson Beck is older than Drake May.
Probably.
He might be.
There's a very high chance of that. But, yeah, I'm not that excited either because I'm very much looking forward to the commercials. That's pretty much it. I did see one today. I don't know if it's a Super Bowl commercial, but it's a new Budweiser commercial. Have you guys seen it?
Oh, is it with the horses?
Yes.
Oh, they make me cry.
When I first started watching it, I was like, this better not be like that dog and horse commercial because that wrecked me.
I got my tissues right here.
Yeah. So no, it's the horse, and it looks like a little chick. Like a little baby chick, and it grows up, and it's just like this sweet music, this wholesome thing. And then all of a sudden I looked at the person that was showing me, I was like, that's about to be an eagle, isn't it? And then it like shows the horse. It looks like the horse is flying and has wings, and then there comes the eagle over it, and like they grow up together. And I was like, that's not America. I don't know what is.
Yeah.
It was good.
Casey, I was wondering what those tissues were for. I'm glad it's for crying.
Me too.
I told my wife.
But speaking of the Budweiser Clydesdales, they are here, and you can go see them at the USS Alabama. They have different times, and because they're going to be in several of the parades, the Mardi Gras parades.
Oh,
have you ever seen those things in person? They're enormous.
I know. I can't wait.
They're like the biggest horses ever.
Are you terrified of horses? My daughter's dad is scared of horses, like terrified. Like at Mardi Gras parades, if like one would come up, like all the kids are trying to touch it and everything, and he's like, and I'm like, why are you so scared? Do you have like an episode? He was like, no. Have you seen their teeth? I was like, what? I was like, that makes no sense.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan either. I had a bad episode on one when I was little, and then
What happened?
so it just took off running. My grandparents had I can't even remember. I was like 6, I guess. And we were in this huge barn, and they put me on this. I was in West Virginia, and like people there don't have any sense. I'd never ridden a horse. They just put me on the horse, and it just took off. Like it took off running for the barn doors on the opposite side of the barn, and literally like tried to go through them as they were trying to close them to keep it in, and it got like wedged. It traumatized me.
Yeah, and you've repressed that memory.
And then, well, the funny thing is, then I had not ridden a horse. Years later, when my wife and I got engaged, she was like, "Oh, we was out in like Shenandoah, Virginia." And she's like, "Oh, we should go on this like horse thing where like take you through the woods and all this stuff." And I was like, I didn't want to tell her I was scared, right? So they put me on this horse. Horse's name was Joker. He was the biggest you've ever seen in your entire life. He's like 50 years old. Would not stay on the trail, would just like wander off in the briars and take a big and then just hang out there. My wife loves to tell that story. Just like looking back at me, I'd be like 50 yards behind everybody else who just left me behind. So,
that is so great.
Yeah,
so romantic.
The Clydesdales. Yeah.
And my dad rode horses, and he was the marshals in the parade. So he like was in his costume, and he was riding the horse, and her dad would never go and see him before a parade. He was like, "No, I'm not going over there." He wouldn't even get close. He was like, "Mm-mm."
Yeah,
nope.
I get it.
For no reason, just terrified.
All right, so we talked about this a little bit when we were planning for the show. Y'all have any good prop bets? That makes the game more fun to watch for me. If you've got money on a bunch of different stuff, even if the game isn't that entertaining, that this can at least keep your interest. Any good ones that y'all are looking at?
I don't have a good one, but I would pay a lot of money. I'd not even win a lot of money. I would pay a lot of money if the Seahawks won and Jalen Milroe got an interview and he just did his classic roll tide at the end. I could go for that.
It's a very specific scenario.
Very specific. Very specific.
What's the odds on that?
I'm not sure, but there should be some. I feel like we should make that happen. People say that would hit like crack, and that would for sure. If a hit of crack, that's what that would feel like.
Well, I got evidence that my son should not have his own gambling account anytime soon because he literally came home from school today. And he's like, "All right, I know what we have to put money on for the Super Bowl." And I was like, "All right." And he's like, "Trevion Henderson, 2 touchdowns." And I said, "Well, why?" Because Henderson has not gotten a lot of carries in the postseason. He said, "Because it's plus 5,000. Like you can't lose if it's plus 5,000. Like if you hit it, you're going to make a ton of money." I'm like, "Right, but you understand that means that it's not a very good chance it's going to happen." He's like, "No, you don't focus on that part." I was like, "All right." So now, of course, we're going to put money on it just because.
Well, I have one that I like it, and it's the same. I have the same reasoning, so maybe your son and I should share an account. I have no touchdowns scored in the game, plus 17,500.
Nice.
Put $1 on that thing.
I'm trying to think, has that happened? It hasn't happened before, has it?
I don't believe so.
It couldn't have. Like 10. They had the one game that was 10-3. That's probably the closest it's come.
But that would make you fall asleep, though, if there was no touchdowns, right?
Yeah, but not if you have that. See, that's the thing. Not if you have money on that, right? You'd be wired.
I mean, $100 to win 17.5.
Yeah,
if I could bet in South Carolina, I would, but I can't.
Yeah, you bet the same way Luke does. So,
I see a couple here. One is whether or not aliens will invade and cause the game to end in a tie.
Ooh. What are the odds there?
I don't see the odds there. I'm guessing they're pretty high, though. I'm guessing
they must be. That's why they're off the board.
Off the board.
I'm guessing you could get rich pretty quick on that one if it happened. Let's see. Will Bad Bunny expose a nipple or the type of outfit he will wear? You can bet on that. There's one. Will any players or coaches cry during the anthem?
That's a good one.
Yeah, I like
will there be a streaker?
What song will Green Day play first in the pregame show?
Oh, that's the reason my daughter is watching the Super Bowl. She's that's like her favorite band. So she's gonna watch it. Oh my God, yeah, she saw him
good
last summer at a
parenting.
festival and is trying to learn, Green Day songs on the guitar. So yeah, she's
amazing.
pumped.
Pretty sure that was one of my first.
The best odds are American Idiot, of course, plus 100. Basket Case is plus 300. Let's see, Minority is plus 800. Yeah.
I'm going Basket Case.
Yeah, I don't think American Idiot will be first. I don't think.
Longview is plus 1,200.
So I'm going to get her in on this. She's going to be excited that we can bet on that.
How many songs are they playing?
I don't know.
Right?
You think Longview would be in there, right? I think Longview would have a shot to be first. That's plus 1,200.
That might be a fun bet there.
Yeah, go put a few bucks on Longview.
Let's do a little
Empty her bank
Travion
account.
Henderson, 2 touchdowns, Green Day, Longview, first song, parlay there.
There you go.
You know what? I would throw in a Bad Bunny nipple because, there has been nip slips on the Super Bowl before.
So yeah, on that, yes is minus 450, no is plus 275.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
This one's kind of funny. Will Seattle attempt a pass from the opponent's 1 yard line?
Oh.
Was it these two teams?
Yep, those exact teams. Yeah, when old Russ decided to throw there.
Yeah, why give it to Marshawn Lynch, who was absolutely owning the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that was a shame seeing Dangerous throw the game away like that.
Yeah, I know you hated it.
I was so torn because
he was kind of likable at that point, though.
Yeah, I was already starting to dislike him, but also he was playing the Patriots, so I was like, I don't know what the hell to root for here.
I didn't like him as the NC State second baseman, but that's another story for another day.
One more. This was a good one. Will Stephon Diggs propose to Cardi B after the game?
Please, God.
Or will he knock anyone up during the game? That would be an even better one.
Oh, my God.
Give me the odds, yes and no.
Yes is plus 1,000.
Throw $1 on that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for $100. Yeah.
One more. Okay, I know I said one more, but here's one final one. Will Dave Portnoy be removed from Levi's Stadium? Yes, plus 1,000. Oh, yes, removed from stadium, plus 1,000. Yes, dragged or handcuffed, plus 2,000.
Where are you getting these odds, MEGs? Just so people know where to find them.
This is on sharpfootballanalysis.com. I don't know how legit that site is. Hopefully it's super legit.
Everything
it has
we do
football
here is
analysis in its name, MBG.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. Should be legit.
All right, so we can all come back next week and share how much money we won, or we're not going to lose, obviously. Just how much money we won, right?
Like Ron White said, you'll never see my fat ass again.
Well, unfortunately, it won't be me since betting is not legal in the state of Alabama, Meemaw Ivy.
It's not?
Or South Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
We got to cross the border to be legal.
Well, I'm happy to put some money down for y'all if you want to bet on Stephon Diggs and Cardi B.
Just use a VPN. Cardi B?
I don't know how I know that, but I've heard.
Casey, you gotta know a guy in New Jersey who can get you in on some action.
Yeah.
You know what's a funny little quick story for me is that when I was in New Jersey, sports gambling became legal. So I moved back to New Jersey. If you ever get the opportunity, don't. But so people in South Carolina started calling me and being like, hey, can you put this bet on FanDuel for me? And I became like a bookie by accident. And I was the worst bookie ever because no one ever gave me a dime for doing it.
Oh, but you got to take that out when you send them their money back, man. Yeah.
I was too honest. Damn it.
I thought you just call up Uncle Knuckles and have him place the bet for you.
I got a guy.
All right, so talking about the Super Bowl, thought it'd be fun to do a draft this week related to it. The last draft we did was a few weeks ago. Did a 4-round draft of the worst fast food / chain restaurants, and my selection of Long John Silver's, not to be confused with Long Dong Silver, of course. Arby's, Hardee's, and Chuck E. Cheese won with 51% of the vote.
Wow.
This week, we're going to do a 4-round draft of our favorite Super Bowl halftime shows. This one took some digging for me. I don't know about y'all. But as usual, we're going to do a random number generator for the draft order. Y'all ready?
Ready.
All right, so pick 1 is MBG. Pick 2 is Courtney.
I never get the wraparound.
Not on here. Pick 3 is me.
Not on here.
And then Casey is pick 4.
Yes.
Casey always gets it.
We didn't think this through because it's not fair because Courtney's actually seen all of these.
In person.
Did y'all look by any chance at the halftime shows for the Super Bowls in the 60s and 70s and 80s?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Grambling State University marching band.
Yeah.
Oh, you took my 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 5th picks, MBG.
It was like, yeah, some of them were rough. I think the first one where they had somebody whose name I recognized was Chubby Checker.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And the Rockettes.
It was not the big show that it is now back in the day.
No. I honestly do have to take that one off my list.
No.
That's my bad.
No, Casey, go ahead. You can take the Grambling
you can
State
still use
University.
it.
You do
I don't
have
know
to
if it'll be there.
Because I didn't get all the way up to 16 for this one, so I'm a little worried that.
Will it get to 4? I'm not sure, so we'll see.
All right, MBG. Who's going up 1.1 here?
Well, I think it's pretty clear. I think it was fairly unanimous that the best halftime show was Prince. At least I think it was. I think most people agree with me.
Wasn't on my list.
What? Prince was one of those guys that everybody likes, right? Everybody can listen to Prince and like Prince. So I think for that reason, it was probably the best.
Well, even if you don't, it literally started raining during Purple Rain.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, it just doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, it was a good show.
So I Googled a bunch of different times, and I don't think there was, I think that was number 1 on every list that I looked at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know who Courtney's going with.
Do you?
I think.
I am going to go. I'm going to go with Nipplegate, Tittygate.
Damn it!
Yep. I knew I had to take that one first because someone else got it. So, I mean, it was probably like the most controversial Super Bowl halftime show ever. I remember it's like one of those situations where you remember where you were when you saw it. And then the backlash. I mean, that still follows him today. Like, that is still something people talk about. So I have to say that goes down as one of the best. And then it's like, people were like, it was planned. And then people are like, no, it's not planned. Like, nobody still knows.
I don't care. It was beautiful.
Watching the whole country melt down over a nipple was like the most insane thing ever. We all have nipples. Right? I mean, some people have a bunch of them, you know?
Well, and wasn't it, she had she had a cover.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, to me, that says that was planned.
Oh, it 100% was planned. It was like a little detachable thing that he pulled off. Yeah.
He didn't just decide to get aggressive and like, let me just rip your costume off that's not supposed to come off.
But also, it was a freaking nipple. Just the whole...
it wasn't even a nipple. It was just like the boob without the nipple.
A nipple area. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, with that was way up there for me.
That was way up there.
Me too.
All right. So, yeah, that was my 1 and 2 that just got taken, but I'll give you my number 3. Going with 2022, and part of this is just the music that I like. Dr. Dre, Snoop, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, Kendrick Lamar, and my favorite part just 50 Cent randomly being upside down when he came out. Yeah. That one just musically was my favorite one, and that little weird part of it, I don't know, that just killed me for some reason. So that one was way up there for me.
If you said, I'm going to go musically, and this one is my favorite performance, blank, that probably wouldn't have been the one that I picked for you.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, yeah. I listened. I
probably would have picked I was like, what is it? The Who?
That might be on my list. The Beastie Boys, my favorite band. This is all. Yeah. The Kendrick stuff is like more recent than what I listen to, but all the other stuff is great. All right, Casey, you got two here.
All right, my first one, I'm going to go with
Chubby Checker,
Shakira's hips and Jennifer Lopez's butt in Super Bowl 54.
That's solid.
Yeah. I don't even know what they sang. It didn't matter what they sang. And my second one, my wraparound, will be Super Bowl 26. I don't know if you remember this, the Buffalo Bills and Washington Redskins, where they had in Minneapolis, where they had Gloria Estefan singing with Brian Boitano and Peggy Fleming doing ice skating in front of her.
I do remember that.
It was amazing.
I don't even know who those two people are.
Do you even Winter Olympics, bro?
When was this, Casey?
1992.
So that was what year, Casey?
1992.
Okay. You'll understand why I'm asking you to specify.
Well, you all were adults.
No, I wasn't.
I was. I was hammered during that Super Bowl.
Was that Doug Williams? I think it was Doug Williams.
No, Doug Williams was 88.
86. Yeah.
That was Mark Rippon, probably, no?
Mark Rippon.
Mark Rippon, yep. Good call. Oh, man, so this is back to me. All right, so let's see. I'm going to go with 2024 with Usher, with Luda and Lil Jon, just because a guy who sings about the sweat dripping down his balls being on the Super Bowl was the funniest thing ever to me.
And he was on skates, and Alicia Keys was there.
It's appropriate.
Oh, yeah.
Usher was on skates, yeah.
And Usher, remember how sweaty Usher was? I don't know why that part.
Wonderful.
I think that was some, like Diddy Baby Oil or something.
Yeah, so I got two very recent ones here. I might have to.
Yeah, how old are you?
A little farther.
Grambling State Marching Band's still on the board.
It still is out there. Well, I think they did like 4 in a row at one point.
I was going to say, which one?
Right. All right, Courtney.
Oh, me. Okay, I got to go with Michael Jackson.
Damn,
Wacko Jacko.
I got to go with Michael Jackson. Wacko Jacko. Yep, I got to go. I mean, can't deny.
That was the first year as like a spectacle, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, I think NSYNC was on maybe before him, like a year or two before him, or New Kids. I can't remember. Like, it was like 91, 90 or 91 when they started getting like people you'd actually heard of before on there.
Well, it was when Disney started taking over.
Yeah.
Like bigger companies started taking over.
Yeah, and then MTV took over, and then MTV got the after Nipplegate. Yep.
Radio City, House of Blues, we're doing,
All right, MBG, you got two here.
I do have two. Man, so many good choices on the board still, guys. I'm going to start, since I got two, I'm going to go with first one with my girl Rihanna. No, actually, no. I didn't mean to go Rihanna. I'm going to go with Bruno Mars.
Damn it.
I'm not a big Bruno Mars fan, but entertainment-wise, that was a pretty good show, I thought.
He was with the Chili Peppers, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, Bruno Mars. My second pick is going to be Tom Petty. only because I love Tom Petty. Played some good songs. Free Fallin' by Tom Petty. One of the best songs of all time, I think.
The set list that he did was great. That was like 2008, I think. That was a great one.
Yes. Yep. So I'll go Bruno Mars, then Tom Petty.
Okay.
Rihanna's still on the board.
Yep, I know. I was either going to go Rihanna or Bruno, and you made it easy. And I thought you were about to pick both of them. I was like, you bitch. Man, so, yes, I am going to go with Rihanna. I love Rihanna. That's just a personal music choice for me. And she's just a complete badass. So
I'm very surprised at one you haven't taken yet. So
me too. I should have taken it just to upset her.
Yeah. All right, so y'all are going to sense a theme here. I'm going to take last year, 2025, Kendrick. It was good, but the main reason I loved it is I think Drake is a tool. So just seeing him get dunked on repeatedly is one of my favorite things. So that was an easy one for me. All right, Casey, your last two here.
My last two at number 12, I'm going to go with 2015 because I can't read Roman numerals. Katy Perry, Lenny Kravitz, Missy Elliott, Arizona State University Sun Devil Marching Band.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really just going with Pretty Ladies at this point, if we're being honest.
I love Shakira, Missy Elliott too. Missy Elliott responded to me on Twitter one time.
What?
Yeah.
What'd she say?
I wish I could remember. I think I have it saved somewhere.
Oh my God, I need to know this.
Yeah, I think she was getting a street named after her in like Virginia Beach or something, and I responded to it, and then she responded to what I said. I love her. I think she's awesome.
Yes.
That was good, and you gave me enough time to look at my last one. I'm going to go with Super Bowl 43, Bruce Springsteen, because he's the boss.
So
and
now
not a pretty lady.
Casey, this was the one. That was the one that my wife told me I had to get. So
Brewster?
Oh, she's seen him like 30. Fan. She's seen him like 30 times in concert.
She went to Camden Yards, didn't she?
Oh, we've seen him here probably 3 times, three different venues. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the man.
All right, so let's see what I got left here. So you kind of stole my thunder. I was going to take Gloria Estefan from 1999, Casey, because, of course, who doesn't like to turn the beat around? But but since and I didn't know she played 2 Super Bowls, which is kind of crazy.
That had Big Bad Voodoo Daddy in there too.
Yeah, it did. Absolutely.
I have had beers with them.
Have you really?
Yeah, they came and played Clemson, I guess, when their stars started to fall. And I was working the stage.
Oh, that's
cool. And
then
we went out and had beers. Yeah, they're awesome.
All right, so I'm just going to go totally shallow here. I'm going to go with 2003 Shania Twain and No Doubt, just because at various times I've had huge crushes on Shania Twain and Gwen Stefani. So that'll be my 4th round pick there.
Tell your wife I'm sorry.
What's
that? I can trade you Bruce Springsteen for Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg.
No, I'm good.
He was like, she'll be fine.
Right. All right, Court, what are you wrapping it up with here?
Okay. I'm very torn between my last 2. One was more recent. One was in I guess it's early 2000s. But I think I just got to go with that one. It's Aerosmith, NSYNC,
wow,
Britney Spears, Nelly, and Mary J. Blige.
She left one on the board.
I did not leave him on the board. I've picked him twice, technically. I picked Janet and Justin, and then I picked NSYNC. So,
there you go. That's true.
Yeah. I wouldn't leave him out, guys. I promise. But I'm going to be honest. If I wasn't playing to win, I would have picked probably not Rihanna, and I probably would have picked JT.
Right. That's what I was waiting on.
Yeah.
All right, MBG, you want to wrap it up here?
Man, I'm in a tough spot here. There's not a lot of good ones left. As much as I want to go with Chubby Checker and the Rockettes, I probably won't go with them. So,
JT?
Man, you guys, I can't do the Blues
MBG Maroon 5 is still out there.
Oh God.
I hate Maroon 5. Look,
not even Adam Levine's mother wanted to see Maroon 5 play the Super Bowl.
Shirtless with looking tats.
I'm just gonna go back. I didn't see this one, but I can tell that it was great. The tribute to Duke Ellington with Mercer Ellington. That was a fantastic halftime show.
Mercer rocked it.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
1975, Super Bowl 9. The tribute to Duke Ellington by Mercer Ellington.
And Mercer's Duke's son.
I wasn't even thought of then, so.
Not the Who, huh, MBG?
Dude, that one sucked.
That was the worst.
When are we going to get Rage Against the Machine?
I don't know.
I'd watch that one
first.
Yeah, the Who was... Anytime they announce a Super Bowl guest and you're like, oh, wait, they're still alive, that's probably not the best
Not ideal.
people to line up to play. Yeah.
The Black Eyed Peas were terrible.
Yeah, that was rough.
That
was rough. All right, so that brings us to our next segment, Genius of the Week. As always, each of us is going to nominate a player, coach, team, conference, someone who did something particularly dumb in the last week. We'll put it to a Twitter vote and see who wins. For our last vote, Casey's nominee, Hall of Fame voters, won with 46% of the vote, followed by Courtney's nominee, Diego Pavia, with 33%. My nominee, the Pro Bowl, NFL Pro Bowl, came in third with 16% of the vote. And MBG's nominee, Whitney Jensen, finished in last with 5%. So, MBG, I'm now getting used to what you felt like for the last couple of years. So, Courtney and Casey are in the lead with 2 wins apiece. So far, MBG and I have been shut out in 2026. So, we got to step it up, man.
This is your week.
Yeah.
I usually peter out around this time.
All right, Casey, who you got this week?
Sure.
This week, my genius of the week is the NFL Pro Bowl game. Did y'all watch this nightmare? I don't even know or care who won, but I turned it on for a bit to watch with my 8-year-old who had some excitement for it, which was weird. But the first thing that I see is a safety. No one took Dak Prescott's flags or anything, but I guess it was for holding the ball too long in the end zone. I mean, come on, man. What are we doing? Gone are the days that Sean Taylor absolutely blew up punter Brian Moorman on a fake punt, one of the greatest hits in NFL history, let alone Pro Bowl history. Now we're lining up to do a tush push with flags so that Jalen Hurts can score a touchdown. However, I think there was a false start called. I couldn't see through all the laughing that I was doing. We had running backs snapping the ball, left tackles with at least 2 touchdown catches. I'm all for the guys having fun. Oh, and they're also playing this nonsense on a Tuesday night. What are we doing, NFL Pro Bowl? So for that and more that I can't even think of tonight, the NFL Pro Bowl game is my genius of the week.
I don't even know it was on. Right?
Me either.
He was arguing with referees. I'm like, what are we doing?
I think he threw a pick 6 too, didn't he?
I hope so. Did he win MVP?
I have no idea. I literally did not even know it was on until afterwards. And then
as soon as my son went to bed, it went off. So I don't know what happened after that.
All right, Courtney.
All right. So I have been very much offline this week and had a really hard time with coming up with something for this. But every time I was thinking about it, I just kept going back to this one thing. And it's just like, the little crypto weirdos that have just like inserted themselves into Twitter, X, whatever. The ones that are hacking everyone's accounts. Like, I get it if you get like this weird DM from someone that you talk to regularly and it's like, hey, go vote for me for this podcast. Here's the link. Then you're like, oh yeah, I'll click that. But like, it's been months. And you should know better now. Like, don't click the link. So Honestly, I don't know if my genius of the week is the crypto hackers or the people dumb enough to click the link. I mean, just like you guys decide. I don't know, but it's really crazy.
We need you to make up your mind. This is your genius of the week.
I know. And what really prompted it is today I got a DM from someone that, will regularly like send me stuff, like tweets and things. And it was something along those, it was a crypto tweet, but it wasn't like a link or anything. And so I just put in all caps, "Did you get hacked?" And they said no. So then I sent I don't believe you. And they never answered. So, and it's a pretty big account. So it's like, guys, just don't click any links. Damn.
I clicked on the link and then I went back really fast because I realized how dumb it was.
Yeah, don't.
Like, I think you have to do more than click on it. I think you actually have to fill. I don't know how they would get your info from clicking on it.
I don't either.
But I know what you're talking about. I've gotten 3 of those DMs.
I've gotten several, and I'll tell y'all who it is in a little bit. But you absolutely, like, when they tell you do the passcodes, do the passcode to your phone, do the 2-factor, like, do that so people can't get your stuff. It's just like it's not rocket science. It's common sense. That's not common, but.
I feel like that whole thing from NBC, The More You Know, should be playing right now.
Boo, boo, boo. Like I said, if you got something and you hadn't heard about it, that's one thing. But we've all seen it now for like months. And it's like, oh, we probably should click that. But people do anyway.
Don't do
frustrating.
All right, MBG. One of us has to get on the board here.
All right, so mine, I had this sent to me probably no less than 20 times in the DMs. I typically have a policy where if I can't find the person's name, I won't use it, so I don't have to put something up like the tampering. But
which one though? So
which one though? Yeah.
True. So I'm going to use it, but I don't have an actual name of this person. But this comes to us from France. It says a hospital in France was evacuated after a male patient arrived with a World War I artillery shell lodged in his backside. According to the Bombshell report, the unnamed 24-year-old had been rushed to the Rangil Accident and Emergency Unit in Toulouse late Saturday night. The poor fellow was in a state of extreme discomfort, having inserted a large object up his rectum, an inside source said. Surgeons conducted emergency surgery during which they discovered the shocking source of his pain, a live 8-inch bombshell from 1918 that had been lodged inside him. Fearing a potential fire in the hole and hospital, medical personnel alerted the bomb squad and fire brigade and evacuated the facility. Meanwhile, a security perimeter was formed around the medical center as the authorities investigated the explosive situation. Fortunately, the retro munition, which was also pointed and over an inch wide, was not deemed a threat. The bomb disposal experts took the shell with them while the patient, a French national, remained at the hospital so he could recover from surgery. So, for putting a bomb up his bum, our friend, I guess we'll call him how do you say Mr. in French? Monsieur Butt Bomb is my genius of the week.
That's so good.
Your butt bomb might actually work. Might actually win.
Yeah.
Should.
Good.
I like that. He probably just fell on it, MBG. It was probably just an accident.
Typically, because I just like that it was live. They had to call in like the bomb squad to take care of it.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if that went off? Oh my God.
What do I have lying around the house?
I don't know. If I'm that guy, would you prefer that it just went off or that you had to go to the hospital and have them take it out? I would just say
no.
fine.
I think you try and set it off at that point. Like you do everything you can to get that thing to explode. All right, so my genius of the week is Dave Portnoy. I don't know if y'all saw this, but it's been circulating a lot. So yesterday, Portnoy posted a video of him racing against college athlete Andrew Taddeo in a 40-yard dash, with Portnoy getting a 10-yard head start. Portnoy won the race, exclaiming, "Another W for Portnoy," as he crossed the finish line. However, Twitter users were far more focused on Portnoy's unusual running style than his victory. And as usual, the comments on Twitter did not disappoint. So here are a few of my favorites. Someone said, "Is this real? Is this how you actually run?" Another one, this one, I don't know why this made me laugh. "Running like this is my biggest fear in life." Another guy said, "They kill horses that run like this." They're not like this. And then I'm paraphrasing this one. This guy said, "This guy runs like I slow, awkward, and not very long." So for all of those reasons, Dave Portnoy is my genius of the week. Did y'all see that video?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to describe his running style.
It's like
labored.
I mean, it's like an old person and a toddler at the same time, you know?
It's like someone with arthritis, like chronic rheumatoid arthritis that has just mangled them, their lower extremities.
I mean, he's 48. Like, I'm pretty sure I might have to, like, just to check myself, set up a video or set up my camera and just run in the backyard to see if I look that bad, because maybe I do, but
you can send it to me.
I think I'm not quite that bad yet.
I mean, it looks like both of his legs had fallen asleep, like he'd sat down for too long, and his legs had fallen asleep, and he just got up and immediately started running.
And his arms are like held up in a way. He's like pumping his arms in a weird way. The whole thing is just so awkward.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. But at least he won. All right. Before we move on to our next segment, I want to give a quick shout out to Coach Letterman for sponsoring the MBG podcast. You can find his truth bombs on Twitter at 3Year Letterman and his life-changing books, Not Some Random Clown and Determined Look, on Amazon. Also, we're doing a cross-promotion with the Sickos Committee podcast again this week. They had a new episode drop yesterday titled Sharkther Predicts the Weather, which featured classic Sickos content, including Groundhog's Day, Americana Pizza, the Big Ten schedule drop, and much more. We love the Sickos, so check them out. All right, y'all, we have another great guest lined up for you this week. This week's guest is a national college sports reporter at CBS Sports. He's also a Wall Street Journal best-selling author whose most recent book is titled The Price, What It Takes to Win in College Football's Era of Chaos. Welcome to the show, John Talty.
John,
welcome.
I have to ask you as a question, though. Who has one of his books?
Well, the correct answer is we all have one.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we all do, Courtney. Which one do you have?
I'm the only one raising my hand in the class.
We appreciate you, Courtney.
Yes.
Well, I learned today that Amazon steals a lot of money from authors. So I'm trying to find, I was going to ask him tonight. You just stole my question. Like, can I go to a smaller bookstore to get it? But
yeah, I think that there's, in Alabama, for instance, like there's like Page and Palette down in the Fairhope area, which is great. I've pushed people there. Birmingham's a place, Little Professor. But yeah, I mean, you hope that bookstores around the South have it. And then, of course, you got your Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, all of them have them as well.
All right, good. I just know, for us small fries, that Amazon taking all your money. Anyway.
That's right. All right,
sorry,
so John, when we have a guest on, we usually kick things off by going around and having each of us ask the guest a question and just letting you cook. Does that work?
Let's do it.
All right. Casey, you're up first.
All right, John. National college sports reporter, best-selling author, tremendous book about Nick Saban. Also, your other book that you wrote with Armin Katayan. I haven't heard that name in a long time, and he's fantastic. But I saw, because I do a deep dive on LinkedIn, and you said it was the best thing you've ever done. A good interviewer would ask you why that was. I'm not a good interviewer, but that is truly amazing, and congrats on that.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I've said this to other guests, and I don't remember who it was, but good Lord, man, your experience is extensive. You've been grinding consistently for the better part of 20 years. Truly an impressive climb. Again, I got all that information on LinkedIn, and thank you for keeping that one updated. And surprisingly, they're not a sponsor yet, but I'm trying every week. So that leads me to my question. I'm not a small man. I'm born and bred, as we talked before the show, a Northeasterner, New Jersey guy. So my idea of barbecue growing up was like throwing burgers on a grill and, quote, having a barbecue, which I learned quickly the difference when I was a student at Clemson. And now I'm fascinated by barbecue. So my sports question is, when covering like UAB or Alabama, any of those teams down there in where you live, really, do you frequent the world famous Dreamland barbecue, and what's your go-to order?
I feel like I went a little too heavy on barbecue when I first moved here, and so I have eased up on that a little bit. I do like Dreamland. I will say I do prefer Archibald's a little bit more. So that's kind of where I lean, but I think they're both very good. And then I will say, if you're in the Birmingham, Alabama area, which is where I live, there's this place called Saws. There's a couple of different versions of them, but big fan of that as well. They have, some great stuff. So I'm a traditionalist. I'll go ribs. I think that's at Archibald, especially that's what you want. And it's one of those places where, like, if you call too late in the day, there's not going to be anything there. So you got to be on top of it, but it's, you can't really go wrong when it comes to Alabama barbecue.
Is that like Dreamland's like the Pats and Geno's of cheesesteaks of barbecue?
I think so. I mean, Courtney, what do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's more commercialized now than it was before. I mean, I remember down here in Mobile, we have a Dreamland, and like my parents would tell me, you walked in, you got, meat, white bread, and sauce. Like, that was it. They didn't have anything else. And everything was on paper plates. I mean, it was just like super chill. But now they have like nachos and all kinds of stuff. Wow. But you're right. Archibald's totally better.
Neither one are sponsors.
Not yet. Maybe Archibald.
Not yet.
Courtney, what do you have for John?
Okay. My question is pretty simple. You always are scrolling the timeline on Twitter and you're seeing all these people saying the craziest things, and you're like, I would never tweet anything like that. So what is a take that you believe but refuse to tweet out because you do not feel like fighting the entire internet?
Yeah, and I'd like to continue not fighting the entire internet, so I have to be careful here. But I will say there's one that I have had for a bit, and I do think that it is starting to percolate more. I feel like this football season especially, I saw it breaking contain from group chats and ending up on Twitter. So I want to be careful still, but like Kirk Herbstreit and his dog, it's tough. It's a tough one. I've been to a lot of events where the dog's at. Like, does a dog really need to be here? Like, I love dogs. I'm not trying to be a dog hater. It's just you're trying to do a national championship media day. The dog's there, and you're kind of like, does he really need to be here? I don't know. And so it's tough. But I do think that was one where like you text friends and you're like, I know I can never tweet this, but like you kind of test the waters. Like, what do you guys think? Yeah. And I do think they're, to quote Arrested Development, there are dozens of us out there. I think that we're starting to build some mass here because it seems like it's becoming more and more of a talking point.
So now I have a follow-up question. Are you 3-year Letterman?
Is that his take? Is he part of the group I think it's popping up a little bit more and more.
It is. It has been a lot of my group chats. You're right. It's a great way to put it. It's starting to break contain.
And I mean, it's just like people, and they're like, okay, guys, is anybody else sick of Kirk and his dog?
And you want to be careful because like dogs are pretty universally accepted. Like we all like dogs. I grew up with dogs. Like, don't want to be having the dog coalition coming after me. I think it's a time and a place thing. And, I just think at a certain point, like there was that, I think where I really noticed it too was there was that video of him like throwing a ball in a hotel with his dog going up and down the hotel hallway. And I stay in hotels a lot. Like there's always like a ruckus happening outside your room, and it's always frustrating. I can just imagine being so mad at 1 a.m. as a dog runs up and down the hallway, and then he puts it on Twitter. It's kind of wild.
That was a good one.
Your secret's safe here.
I don't know if this makes you feel better or worse, but a lot of the message boards had the same opinion that you did on Kirk Herbstreit. So, I mean,
take that for what it's worth.
Yeah, I was going to say that could cut either way.
Yeah, I think it's a great audience to be the head of.
All right, John. So you wrote the defining book on Nick Saban, who many consider to be the greatest college football coach of all time, including I think at least two people here. My question is, given the changes in the college football landscape over the last several years, what do you think a coach would have to do to take that title from Saban? And I guess the second question is, do you think that'll ever happen?
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like anything is possible, but it feels unlikely. I can think like, I'll use an example to start. Like I can remember this offseason, Steve Sarkisian and others talking about how we felt like there would probably never be an undefeated national champion again. And then we get one that same year, and it's Indiana of all people. So like there are things where you think there's no way anybody can do this. I'm sure there was a time where people thought there's no way anybody's going to top Bear Bryant, and then Nick Saban does it at Alabama. So nothing's impossible, but I do think that in this world of parity that we're in, like it's going to be harder and harder, I think, to like stack dynasties the way that Nick was able to do at Alabama. I think you also have to think from like an age standpoint, like who has a long enough runway. Like I'm a huge believer in Curt Cignetti. I've written a lot about him. I think he's an amazing story. I think he has an argument to be the best coach in America right now. But like, does he have enough time to have enough opportunities to win the way that Nick did? That, maybe, but it feels like that runway is maybe a little bit shorter. Kirby Smart's probably the best option, but I've talked to people in the past that just don't think he's going to be doing it forever. He's going so hard, so fast that, multiple people have told me he's not going to coach until he's 70 in college football. So, it's hard to kind of think of somebody other than some of those guys. But what Nick did at Alabama was incredible. And I think what is cool about where we are right now in college football is that his influence is still everywhere. Certainly that national championship game, Curt Cignetti, Mario Cristobal, two former assistants. You had Pete Golding at Ole Miss, a former assistant. Oregon, Dan Lanning, who had spent time at Alabama. So I still see a lot of Alabama influence and still a lot of people kind of following his process. But I think it's going to be very hard for anyone to duplicate the incredible, record that he had at Alabama.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's true. And what you pointed out is great, that his coaching tree is almost another piece of his legacy. And that would be incredibly hard to duplicate the success that some of his guys have had.
For sure. Yeah.
Our guest last week, Josh Perry, said that he thinks that Saban buried Cignetti so that he didn't come out and out Saban as, a fraud. I'm paraphrasing.
Right.
Strong take right there. It feels like it could be on a message board.
All right, MBG, what do you have?
All right. Well, speaking of the message boards, John, tell me about your experience on message boards. Is that where you get your info for your stories? Is from the message boards, or?
It is not, but I am a believer in message boards. I do support them. And, our part of our company, 24/7 Sports, is, I'm sure, probably makes up quite a few of the fun stuff that you guys pull. So obviously a believer in that business and supporter of that. And, I got my start. So I'll rewind a little bit. I got my start covering recruiting for a scout.com website back in 2004 or something like that. And I was still a teenager at the time. And so I kind of was able to kind of come up and start because of message boards and recruiting websites and things like that. So we'll always have a special place in my heart. I think they're very amusing. They can be very entertaining. The only thing that I don't like about them, to kind of the point you were hitting on earlier, is because there are times where they're right, but there'll be something that will pop up on a message board where, I don't know, pick a player who I saw him walking with a boot, or I think he got kicked off the team or whatever. And then people like me have to chase it. And when it's right, you feel like, I'm glad I saw that. But when you have to call sources and they just laugh at you, like, what are you talking about? You kind of feel like an idiot that you had to do that. So that's the only downside sometimes.
Cade Klubnik was hit by a car.
Yeah, I mean that's the stuff that pops up. But there's like sometimes you do sometimes see wild stuff on there, and you think there's no way that could be true, and then it is true. And so there's other times where you know something and you're just hoping it doesn't end up on a message board because you're trying to hold it, and you're just like, I hope no one else gets wind of this. And I can think about that, like the Sharon Moore situation. Like we were looking into that for weeks, and you're just hoping it's not going to leak. And then once it starts popping up on the message board, and you're getting texts from people, you're like, it's starting to, again, kind of break contain.
So you're saying that we can go in and post crazy stuff on the message boards, and then you guys are all going to be forced to try and chase that down and verify it?
Not always, but there are times. And there's also, I think what's cool about message boards is that they all have their little kind of communities, and there are people who like, and I had this pop up this past kind of coaching search cycle where I have a friend who's like on a message board, and he's like, this is our guy. He's our trusted insider. Like he's saying this, it's probably true. You should look into this. And it's like, all right, I don't know who this person is, but like, I guess I'll look into it. So I think that's kind of cool where it's like, this guy's been posting for 15 years. He's never been wrong. When he says it, it means it. Like that stuff I think is still like really cool.
Yeah.
You are right, though. There is at least one of those on every board. And if rumors start popping up, you'll see posts where, hey, so-and-so, tell us what you heard, or tell us if this is true or not.
Like the Auburn boards.
Auburn boards are notoriously accurate for the most part.
Insane.
Weird.
Yeah. So while we have you, John, I want to get your reaction to a few message board posts. Since you're an Alabama guy, and by that I mean you're living in Alabama, spent some time there, I thought we'd start off with an Alabama post from a fellow named DX Birdman. I love these posts from SEC schools, especially schools like Alabama. It says, I feel like we are the equivalent of the Tampa Bay Rays. We have players that develop, but once that initial year or two is up, we lose them in free agency to teams like Texas, Ohio State, Miami, A&M, Oregon, due to them having more money to pay them than we do. Just like the Rays players leave for the Dodgers, Yankees, Cubs, and the Mets. So in this new era, is Alabama just the Tampa Bay Rays of college football?
I mean, this is a great take because there's no reality to it. So I like one way, like, if this was the like Miami of Ohio message board, it'd be like, yeah, that is kind of what its life is like in the MAC. But Alabama, I mean, they've lost a couple guys here and there, but I don't think it's anywhere close to that. So that's when times are getting a little tough here in Alabama when like they're being compared to the Tampa Bay Rays. Like it's like maybe like crank up the Kalen DeBoer heat index a little bit if we're getting the Rays comparisons, because that's a great one. It made me laugh when I read it. I don't feel like it's even close to reality though.
So in terms of money though, if he lists like Texas, Ohio State, Miami, A&M, Oregon, I mean, does Alabama fall behind those guys? Is there any accuracy to that part of it? Or...
Yeah, that is true. And I'll plug my book here, The Price. Like we get into a good amount of like the Alabama NIL situation leading up to Nick Saban leaving and some of what he was dealing with. And I think it's somewhat well established now, but our book came out more than a year ago. But like there was a Saban discount that was happening, and Alabama was behind the times in some ways from some of these other programs. Part of that was by design. It was, we have Nick Saban, we're kind of getting a discount. Like we don't want to be the first ones who are super aggressive because you want to see what's going to happen. Like, and I think we saw situations, Miami, Texas A&M, that went super aggressive early on and it didn't work out. And so there was something to that. There's also, I think, what Alabama still deals with right now. I think two of the challenges for them in the NIL era. One, I still think there's some complacency there. And I know that Georgia has to deal with that and other programs where, someone like Courtney has seen a lot of national championships in her lifetime. And I think that there's not as much of that. Not that there's not an incredible desire to win, but there's maybe not quite the desperation that other fan bases have shown, and that burning desire to, I will give you as much money as you need to make this happen, that have not quite seen that in kind of the Alabama era that we're going through. And then there's just also the reality of like Alabama, I've lived here for a long time. It's an amazing state. And there's a lot of very wealthy people who do support Alabama. But when it comes to those uber billionaires, the way that you've got a Mark Cuban now at Indiana, Phil Knight at Oregon, even Cody Campbell at Texas Tech, like Alabama just does not have that person who can give that amount of money. And so I do think that they've been a little money whipped in this era. And, they made the playoff. They're still competing at a high level, but they are not at the absolute top end of the NIL spending market right now.
Yeah, I feel bad.
You know what you always say when these posts come up, right?
What's that?
Poor old Bama. Every time we get one of these posts.
I do. I feel bad. As a Utah State fan, I really feel bad for some of these SEC schools who are struggling for money. I feel bad for them.
We appreciate you.
So let's stay in the state of Alabama. And here's a post from the Auburn 247 board, a guy named Tiger Race. I love this from the Auburn board. This guy's ranking the most corrupt college athletic programs. And here's his ranking. I want to see if you agree with it. It says, what do you say? Here are mine. Alabama, football and basketball, all sports, and it has been going on for years. Number 2 is LSU. We'll do anything for a winner. Lane is the Tamper King. 3 is Ole Miss. Lane and now Golding. What more needs to be said? Number 4, Miami. The Mensa saga is horrible, and I hope Duke sues their pants off. Number 5 is a tie between Texas, Ohio State, Michigan, and Texas Tech. Corrupt or just mega donors that find a way to pay more than anyone else? The playing field is no longer level. What do you think of that ranking system for most corrupt athletic departments?
Yeah, when I think you have an opportunity to list your top rivals as the most corrupt programs, take it. So I love where Auburn fans coming from there. Of course, Alabama would have to be the most corrupt program. Who else could it be, right?
Not them.
Yeah, I think that's a classic SEC message board post right there. I think I also love that. I think one of my favorite things is like every message board is accusing other schools of cheating, and of course they don't cheat. So that's just kind of I think how it works. So that's how that post kind of rings to me. It's like, yeah, Alabama, LSU, and Ole Miss, 3 of our top rivals, are all cheating a lot and corrupt, but of course we are not.
Nope. The school that hired Hugh Freeze, definitely straight and narrow.
Right.
Don't you forget, Casey, that Cam Newton was offered money and came to Auburn for free.
That's right.
I'm sure he had Auburn at 6. He just didn't have the
Alabama
space.
fan that said Alabama ranked number 1 while Auburn remains unranked. Feels familiar.
That's a good burn.
That's pretty good.
All right, one more SEC one before we leave the SEC alone. And this was from a Texas A&M board. John BO2. Indiana and Miami play soft schedules in comparison to a typical SEC grinded out season where all SEC teams have more injuries as a direct result. It's why the SEC failed to make the national championship, and it's only going to get worse next year with 9 SEC games. Something needs to change. Is that why the SEC didn't have a team in the title game, just because of the grind was too much?
Maybe I'm SEC pilled here because I live in the city where the headquarters of the SEC are, but I kind of agree with some of that take. I don't think that that's crazy. I do think that and I will say this is something that coaches and ADs are talking about. I do think the move to 9 conference games is not going to pay off super well, at least in the short term. I think there's already coaches and ADs worried about it of like, we're already, beating each other up. Now we're adding a 9th game. It's going to be even harder. And are we going to get left out at 9-3, 8-4, things like that? So I think that's true. I think that, so I went to Maryland, which was an ACC school, now Big Ten. I've lived in Alabama for a while. I primarily cover a lot of, I would say, Big Ten, SEC, and ACC. I cover some Big 12, but not as much. Those are the conferences that I probably am most familiar with. And I do feel like Big Ten has the upper echelon. They've won the last 3 national championships. But I think that's a top-heavy conference. And no knock to my alma mater, like Maryland. They've had a tough year, right? And they're not alone. I think the bottom of the Big Ten is weaker than the bottom of the SEC. So I think there is some truth to the fact that SEC teams, they're probably a little bit closer, more parity maybe right now in the SEC than there is the Big Ten. So I do think they beat each other up a little bit more. But I also just think that there just wasn't an elite team in the SEC. That's why they didn't win a national championship. I think that, there were more elite teams in the Big Ten than there were in the SEC this year. So I think part of NIL, part of rev share, like the talent's getting more dispersed within the SEC. And so you're just not seeing the super teams that Saban had and even that Kirby had at the beginning of his run.
Yeah.
Don't slander Rutgers, John.
We're in the same boat as Maryland, man.
Off the top of your head, what major program would you say is the most down bad right now?
This is a great question. I'm trying to think of what's a major program. I mean,
there's definitely one in the ACC.
Yeah, I mean that is. Florida
State.
State is in a tough spot right now. That's a good one. I mean, Clemson is. You could put them. I don't know if they're fully down bad, but I think it's coming. Trying to think. I was going in my head SEC wise, like what's a big program that's down? I don't know. It's tough because so many of them have made coaching changes, so a lot of them have hope again. I think in November there were a lot that were down bad, and then now there's so many that have changed over that you feel like hope has kind of sprung up. But Florida State, the combination of like some of the them not being very aggressive in the portal. There was a story the other day about all the debt as a university they have, Gus retiring. That just feels like it's kind of like the writing's on the wall there. And I think fans are a bit disappointed. Of course, one of your rivals being in the national championship game, not fun either. So I think that's where I go. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree, but I do think that at Texas A&M, they had another message board post that basically said that they should have been in the national championship. No reason was given, but they just said it was just unfair because they were in the SEC, so they needed to be in the national. They should have won it. So,
John,
I don't know if they're just always down or what.
What?
Go ahead, Who's?
Oh, I was going to say, I'll just throw in that John's Terps never should have left the ACC. Because I mean, that program is, I don't see them turning it around in the Big Ten. And I think obviously they were one of our big rivals.
I hated playing them.
So that was a bummer for me.
Hated it.
Yeah, there's still a lot of Maryland fans who I think would say the same thing because you lost the rivalries to UVA and Duke and UNC and other places. But and we'll see. There is, we'll see what happens in 4 or 5 years here. But I think even with all that said, having that kind of lifeboat to the Big Ten and locking in a spot in the Big Ten just feels probably more secure for that school.
Oh, that's definitely true.
I mean, UVA is going to be fine
because,
but the SEC and Big Ten are both interested in UVA. But some of the other programs in the ACC, like if things consolidate the way people always discuss that it could, like they might get left out in the cold.
Yeah, my answer to that question would have been Florida State by a mile in terms of who was down the most, at least based on the message boards. So there was one post I sent you. This seems to be a fairly common sentiment amongst Florida State fans. It says, fire Norvell and hire Jimbo. Stop the buffoonery.
Simple and to the point.
Would that solve the problem?
It's hard. We have in the price, we have a chapter dedicated to Jimbo. And so I feel like I just maybe know too much. I mean, it ended bad at Florida State. I think that's been pretty well established. At the end at A&M, it was not a great situation. There was a toxic culture within that team. So, I think what's interesting, and I actually was talking to a colleague about this the other day, like, Jimbo tried to get back in this coaching carousel, and there are a lot of jobs that opened up, and he did not get one. So I think it's interesting. I could see, though, a scenario in which he can rally former players and boosters to try to get him pushed if that job opens up. But do I think that running it back with Jimbo fixes things? I mean, when has that worked?
Right.
Yeah. It's like, getting divorced and then remarrying your first spouse.
Maybe that works for people. I don't know. I mean, and like, listen, we've seen a few of them, like Scott Frost went back to UCF. Rich Rodriguez went back to West Virginia. Like, it hasn't happened yet, right? They only have had a year. They did not have a lot of success. Maybe that will get better. But Randy Etzel went back to UConn. That didn't work. Like, it just feels like when you try to like reheat what used to work, it just doesn't typically taste as good as it did the first time.
Chad Morris back at Clemson as the OC. Damn it.
All right. Last one. I figured I had to throw you a Maryland post in there since you went to Maryland. And I couldn't decide between some posts that were mad that Mike Locksley was being retained or if I should go with something more current. So I went with the more current post about Buzz Williams, who's in his very first year as the head coach at Maryland. Doesn't seem like things are going swell for Buzz.
They are not.
So, how many games in are we? 20 games in,
Just
maybe?
a couple. Yeah, somewhere in that range.
So this was the post. You can tell me if you agree with Tillman Terp. He says, change "you suck" to "Buzz sucks" during R&R Part 2. He says, getting Buzz canned after one season and having the Maryland Athletic Department eat a $25 million buyout is a tall order. Obviously, if it should be a tall order is another topic, but it is what it is. It's going to take real humiliation and embarrassment for the program and athletic department to force change. Fans boo coaches during introductions. Fans wear paper bags on their head. Fans hold signs during games. Those have all been done. But for us to amend a program game day ritual to express our displeasure with our coach and program, it would garner attention all over college basketball, social media, and would be heard clearly during the television broadcast. It would absolutely squeeze the athletic department's nuts and put pressure on them to make a move.
This is a hysterical suggestion. Yeah. So Maryland, if you guys aren't familiar with like basketball, Maryland, like there's a "Hey, you suck" chant that they do before games, and it's fun. I went through it as a student there, and it's part of their tradition. And so I do think it would be, amusing if that is what was done. Now, one, I don't think that squeeze the nuts of the athletic department. I don't think that does that at all. I think it'd be amusing, but I don't know that they're like, oh, we got to fire him now. They changed it to Buzz sucks. So maybe that's a leap there, but I just also think like it's 1 year. I get it. Fans are I will say Maryland basketball fans are down pretty bad right now. And I think part of that is also because their coach left to go to Villanova. Villanova's having a pretty good year. And then, the guy who came in to replace Buzz, Texas A&M, Bucky, who I covered when he was a Mountain Brook High School basketball coach here in Birmingham, like he's having a great year. And so it's like the guy who left and then the guy who replaced the guy you hired are both having good seasons. And the guy you have is having the worst season in Maryland basketball history that I can remember since I went there, at least. It's the worst year I can remember. So that's pretty tough. That's why I think they're going through it and suggesting that. But you don't see guys get fired after a year. He's not getting fired this season. They just have to kind of suffer through it and hope that next year will be better.
They have 8 wins.
Yeah, but how many losses do they have?
Yeah. They have 8 wins, John.
Yeah, I think Maryland fans would take 8 wins in football, but basketball you tend to move on a little bit more when you're in February. And in fairness to Buzz, their best player went down with an injury, and they just have not been the same since. But still, and I think you can apply this to football coaches too. Like in the current NIL transfer portal era, you just do not get a lot of leash anymore. Like people expect you to have success from the get-go. And so like hey, we're going to give you 3 years to figure it out. Like that pressure starts year 2, and here it is starting for Buzz in year 1. So that's like kind of the blessing and curse. Like you can transform your roster very quickly, but fans also expect you to transform your roster very quickly. And so, Kalen DeBoer entering year 3, and he's already feeling it, right? And so that's just kind of the reality of the world we're living in. And I think basketball, especially where you feel like we can get 2 really good players in, that changes the whole team. Like there's just even more pressure to kind of flip it fast.
I thought this was a great hire for them. Like Buzz always, I think he's a good coach. He's got a shelf life, I think, wherever he goes. But
6 years and he's gone.
Yeah.
The one, and I won't go too in the weeds on Maryland basketball. I don't know how much your listeners care, but the 2 things that were interesting about it was, one, their AD had left, so they had an interim AD, and here they have Buzz Williams being interested in the job, and so it was kind of a weird search in that regard. And then, I mean, listen, you're in Baltimore, like I mean, buzz does not scream like DC area to me. That was the one thing that I always wondered. Like, Buzz just kind of brings the Buzz circus wherever he goes, and they win and it works, but it never feels like it's necessarily unique to that school. And, Maryland having a strong basketball history, like, you want former players being around. You want it to feel like the Gary Williams and on and on. And I think Buzz does Buzz things. And so I think that's why some fans kind of from the beginning were like, I'm skeptical of this guy. Like, he's, him wearing his 3-piece suits and doing all that. Like, it just doesn't necessarily play in DC.
Yeah. Is he still wandering like 20 feet out on the court? I haven't seen any Maryland games this year.
There is some of that. He's still doing the handwritten notes and things like that. He's doing the Buzz thing. And, like, it plays super well when you're winning. And when you don't, people are like, I don't know. Still not using the computer, all that stuff.
Right.
That's one of my favorite things, though, like where the high of getting a new coach, and then as soon as they start doing like just a tiny bit bad, you're like, nope, that's it. I didn't even like that guy to begin with.
It is very much like a relationship thing. It's like the initial buzz of like, oh, I got a new boyfriend or girlfriend. And then you're like, you get the ick over something and you're like, oh, maybe I'm doing this.
Really looking forward to the Lane Kiffin LSU relationship. And whenever he does something they don't like, it's going to be amazing.
He is. I mean, he would be a message board poster in another life. Maybe he is currently. But he is a great example of when you win and win at a high level, you can do whatever you want. And the minute you either stop winning or they know that you're not staying, they will turn on you. And so the tweets are very funny when you're winning, and when you're not, they're not. And so you just know that, like, a bad loss and those, LSU fans are going to get fired up on Tiger droppings and everywhere else.
And, we saw that with Ole Miss fans. They like, oh, he's the greatest thing. And then they just turned on him. And they were like, oh, yeah, well, he was doing this. He was doing that. It's like, okay, well, if you knew these things that he supposedly was doing, like, you didn't care when he was your coach. But now 5 minutes later, you do care.
Yeah, it comes out maybe that wasn't his dog after all. It's like, wait, what? Where did this come from?
Right.
They're going to lose opening day next year anyway, so it doesn't matter.
The trolling is a lot less funny when someone's walking out the door, right? Yeah. Than it is when he's your coach.
100%.
Well, John, that's all I had for you. I really appreciate you coming on. It's been awesome.
Yeah.
Make sure to tell everyone where we can find you, please.
Yeah. You can check out my writing stuff at cbssports.com, and then you can follow me on Twitter at jtalty.
I did just buy a book.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Also, buy books too. Yeah, we need that as well.
Not on Amazon, though.
No, they steal your money.
Amazon's fine. I mean, I'm a big believer of whatever. Well, let me take that back. Wherever you'd like to buy books is great. I don't want to be quote tweeted as Amazon is fine. That might be a bad for me right now, especially with what's happening to the Washington Post. So I'll just say wherever you want to buy a book, I appreciate your support.
I promise you, we are not we're the farthest thing from a gotcha podcast.
You got to be diligent out there. You never want to end up on a message board.
Right. I butchered Josh Perry's quote before, so it's fine. Right. Thanks so much, John. We appreciate you.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, thanks, John. I really appreciate it. Thanks for staying up late for us.
Of course.
All right, that'll do it for this week's episode, the MBG Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review. You can check out more content at messageboardgeniuses.com. And we'll see you next time, losers.